My office is out here in the big, wild world. And a typical day looks a lot like this. But lately, work has taken me in a whole new direction.
That is a long way down.
And in the Grand Canyon, the bottom is hard to find. And so is the top.
All right, here we go.
But there's more to this journey than just postcard views. I'm here to uncover the secret lives of the canyon's wild things. From the barrens of the boundless sky.
That is one big, beautiful bird.
To the denizens of rock.
He's sitting right by this big crack up here.
And maybe find the mother lode from a prehistoric monster.
There's definitely a pile of a record right here.
Surviving in rare form. Right here where you least expect it. On the edge of the abyss. The view on the north rim of the Grand Canyon at dawn is a sight to behold. And I have it all to myself, because I'm far from the crowds gathered on the other distant rim of the canyon. For once, I thought I might escape the ice and snow. But Mother Nature has other plans.
It is frigid up here, high on the north rim. I'm at 8,100 feet, 38 degrees. I mean, I'm way up here in altitude, the wind's blowing, but this is a great spot to start my trek. I'm gonna start here on the north rim. I'm gonna go all the way down there to the Colorado River. I'm gonna hop on the river, and I'm gonna float down all the way out the bottom of the canyon.
But here on the rim of the Grand Canyon, all my detailed plans seem to dissolve into thin air. I think I'm finally grasping the true scale of the journey I have ahead of me. And finding wildlife here will be the ultimate challenge.
This is ridiculous. That is a long way down. And I've got to cross this entire canyon. That is some rugged terrain. What a view, this is amazing.
From this dizzying height, the canyon seems impossibly huge. But in the largest spaces, I often search for something that stands out. An outline, a shadow, or in this case, an unmistakable silhouette, perched silently in the cliffs below.
Wow, this is a good start. I'm just about to start my descent from the rim, and I just spotted one of the most rare and iconic animals here in the Grand Canyon, the California condor.
And this is an amazing stroke of good luck, because until recently, a visitor to the Grand Canyon had no chance of seeing a condor in the wild. They're still so rare that each bird is marked with a wing tag to keep track of its location.
And even though they're making quite a comeback, that's not always been the case.
And to get the full story on condors, we have to go out on a limb. This is Marble Canyon, the start of the Grand Canyon, and ground zero for the first group of condors reintroduced to Arizona from captivity over 10 years ago. But finding one is no guarantee.
This is not easy getting around. But the best way to get around is the same way the condors do, and that's by flying.
I don't have a 9.5-foot wingspan, so if I fall, I'm gonna die.
Now, a short distance from the edge, I'm on the perfect viewing platform. And as I scan the rock below, I search for the slightest movement. A flap of feathers. That signature unfurling of the longest wings in North America.
How wild is that? A California condor just below me. There's less than 200 of them left in the wild. So cool. Now what that bird's doing, he's sitting here perched on the cliffs, waiting for thermals. And as the wind picks up, he'll take off and use the wind and the thermals to soar and get up really high up over this canyon. And this is perfect condor habitat.
Condors stay perched for an average of 15 hours a day. So you've got to be patient and lucky to see one take to the skies.
It's getting ready to take off. It's opening up its wings. There it goes. That is amazing. Wow. Look at the wingspan on that. That is one big, beautiful bird.
Once airborne, the condor reveals its true art. They can soar for an entire hour without a single flap of their wings.
It's hard to believe that only a couple decades ago, these guys almost went extinct.
In the early 1980s, the condor population plummeted to only 22 birds, just a breath away from extinction. But thanks to the work of people like Chris Parrish, director of the Peregrine Fund's Condor Project, there are signs of recovery underway. Chris and his team use radio telemetry to track the movements of condors in the wild. At the nearby Vermilion Cliffs Condor Facility, the team rehabilitates condors afflicted by an all-too-common and often lethal condition, lead poisoning. Condors are scavengers, so they feed exclusively on the remains of dead animals. An animal killed by a hunter using lead ammunition will be tainted by toxic traces of lead. Once ingested, the lead sickens and eventually kills the otherwise healthy condor. And up to 95% of the condor population is at risk every year.
So what is this place, Chris? And what we got going on tonight?
This is the barn, we call it. This is where we treat the condors that are lead poisoned. So if they're sick enough, we bring them in here and treat them for lead poisoning, which is our leading cause of death with condors.
Great, well, let's do it.
Let's go.
So Eddie's gone in the back to grab a bird, and this one sounds feisty. There's a guy back there in the dark with North America's largest bird. And it doesn't sound like it's going really well. He hasn't screamed help yet. Whoa. That thing's big.
With so few condors left, there's no margin for error. Step one is a careful injection of a detoxifying agent, allowing lead to pass harmlessly through the bird's kidneys. Step two, the X-ray, is often the moment of truth, the most visible indicator of the condor's health.
Okay.
But it's clear right away, this condor has a long road ahead of it.
Basically, these birds got into something that had both bird shot and whatever this is. It appears as though it's a mushroom bullet. Hopefully we can keep reducing the amount of lead out there.
Yeah, it's all for the better of the species.
You bet.
For now, the team can only continue their treatment and hope for the best. But it's no small thanks to the work of Chris and his team that I'm back outside where condors belong, to witness an ancient ritual play out right before my very eyes.
Right down below me, I have a juvenile condor. And I can tell because it has kind of a dark black head. And the adults have a very colorful head. So this condor is under 3 years old. And condors can live 50 to 70 years. If this condor can avoid ingesting lead, it has a long life ahead of it. Here at the Grand Canyon, you really get a feel of how old everything is. And this canyon's been here for millions of years. And these condors have been around since the end of the last ice age. And this juvenile here represents the success of the effort to save these condors.
For birds that have been around for eons, it seems so unfair that there's no final timeline for their recovery. But I pledged to Chris and his team that I'll be back again to check on their progress. For now, I'm headed below the rim and into a different world. Each step taking me further and further into the wild heart of the Grand Canyon. I know that despite all I've seen so far on the rim of the Grand Canyon, this is only the tip of the iceberg. So perhaps it's fitting that it snowed up here last night. But there's a whole other world waiting to be discovered below. Now, the real journey begins.
Today, I'm descending to the bottom of the canyon. And as I descend, I'm gonna be going through 5 different life zones. And as I pass through them, the conditions are gonna change. It's gonna be like passing from Canada all the way down to Mexico.
But first, rumor has it that something special haunts these high elevation forests. It's an animal I've never seen, and it lives right here and nowhere else on the globe.
And right over here is a kaibab squirrel. And it's one of a kind. There's no other place in the entire world that these little guys exist. Let's go get a closer look at it.
Tracking this fleet-footed ghost proves to be more difficult than I anticipated. After a fruitless search, I'm starting to think I'm barking up the wrong tree. When suddenly, I catch another glimpse.
Right now, he's eluding me. He's just right there on the edge of the canyon, so I'm gonna sneak up to the edge, look around, and hopefully get a good look at him. There they go. They're so different looking. That big, white, fluffy tail. These really long ear tufts.
These unique characteristics evolved during a long period of genetic isolation here at the edge of the canyon. The squirrel takes maximum advantage of the good life here among the ponderosa pines, which includes all-you-can-eat seed and twig buffet, deluxe nest accommodations, and a wardrobe that is perfect camouflage. And just as fast as they arrived on the scene, the kaibab squirrel vanishes. But I'm not out of the woods yet.
Well, as I'm descending into the canyon, it's already warming up quite a bit. But winter's still clinging on up here. It's high enough altitude. In fact, you can see on the aspen trees, the leaves haven't started growing yet.
And now, practically right around the corner, the foliage is bursting into bloom before my very eyes.
I'm not that far from the rim of the canyon, and I can already see a lot of change happening. I must be in the transition zone. If you look here, things are blossoming, everything's really green, there's flowers. It really feels like it's changed from winter to spring. We've gone down to 7,100 feet. That's 65 degrees. And I'm curious to see what's down the trail.
And by the time I hit the Supai Tunnel, the windswept pines on the North Rim are just a distant memory.
Whoa. Going through that tunnel, I've literally left the forest, and now I'm in the desert.
But I'm still not even halfway down.
Upper snow and life zone, 4,900 feet, 65 degrees. It's hard to believe I woke up this morning and there was snow on the ground. Now I'm in a very desert environment, but things are changing drastically. There's a storm moving in, and a storm in the Grand Canyon can mean flash floods, so I better get to the safety of camp.
At long last, I make it in one piece.
Well, I just finished the longest descent of my trek. Some dark clouds are moving in, so it's time to set up my tent.
Luckily, I'm carrying everything I need to withstand rain, wind, and hunger.
And this is one of the first nights I haven't had to sleep with a bear-proof fence around my tent in a long time. But there was a time when grizzlies and wolves flourished in this ecosystem.
Bringing back a predator on the brink of extinction is no easy task, but due in large part to the dedicated work of the Mexican gray wolf recovery team. The process of reintroducing a real live carnivore species to Arizona's nearby White Mountains is already well underway. But this is no ordinary carnivore. The Mexican gray wolf is the most highly endangered mammal in North America. Its small size and tawny markings make it well suited for life in the Sky Islands and the high desert of Arizona and New Mexico. This isn't my first close-up with this iconic species.
These guys should not like humans after this is all said and done.
Absolutely.
Last year, I helped biologists from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service perform a checkup on 5 new Mexican gray wolf puppies, part of the team's captive breeding program in New Mexico. I'm back again to witness another landmark moment for the team. The first captive wolf release in several years. And their special cargo is arriving first class.
So Wolf 1049 just arrived from Missouri, and this is the first leg of its trip back into the wild. Now that's a wolf arriving in style. So now all we have to do is go unload the precious cargo, put it in the truck, and take it down to the holding pen.
Wolf 1049, known as Zeke, was born wild but captured as a young pup. He's spent every day since in captivity, where he's developed a reputation for intelligence, toughness, and a healthy fear of humans. In other words, a wolf perfectly suited for release.
So Tyler here was part of the transport team that brought the wolf from Missouri all the way here to Arizona. He wrote a little good luck message for Zeke on his radio collar.
But to survive, Zeke's going to need more than luck. He'll need to win the approval of the local Hawks Nest Pack's wily alpha female, pictured here on this elk carcass.
So it's off to the holding pen, where he'll meet this female wolf that's actually out in the wild right now. Hopefully they'll pair up, and then they'll be released into the wild.
Zeke needs to acclimate to his new home here in the high desert. And the first step is getting him delivered to his new pen, and fast, because the team is running out of daylight.
Well, we're finally here to the pen, but the bad news is the sun's gone down. So we have to prepare this pen in the dark. It's been a long day for Zeke, and I'm sure this wolf wants to get out. Zeke's gonna get a girlfriend.
So it opens on that side towards me.
All right, Zeke. He's gorgeous. You did a good job with keeping him healthy and happy. So Zeke's out in the holding pen. Tonight's his last night alone. Tomorrow, he's gonna meet the alpha female.
The bigger challenge begins for the team tomorrow morning. We rise at dawn and head out to hunt a wolf.
It's time to suit up. Gonna hop in this helicopter and go do an aerial survey of this habitat around here these Mexican gray wolves are occupying. How do I look? All right, here we go.
And there's no better way to get the lay of the land than from the air.
Boy, when you get up here, you can really see there's a lot of country. Left the Grand Canyon and headed southeast. We're in the White Mountains of Arizona. This area here is home to almost all the wild Mexican gray wolves in the world. There's only 40 that exist in the wild. Look at this, it looks like we're back in Montana. Gnarly alpine terrain, tons of elk and deer for the wolves to eat. This is a perfect area to find some wolves.
Easier said than done. Without the expertise of wolf biologist Jeff Dolphin and specialist pilot Tim Booth, we'd never find such a rare predator in this massive wilderness.
So those wolves were located to our right today using the telemetry. So are we officially in Hawks Nest Pack territory right now? Yeah, the Hawks Nest Pack utilizes this area.
Wow, that's spectacular down there. Look at that.
Suddenly, we've hit the jackpot. There she is, just coming into view below, the alpha female of the Hawks Nest Pack.
Dead ahead.
So we got to abort.
The team has strict guidelines for the amount of time they can pursue any wolf. And with the scouting mission accomplished, we turn back to base.
Been a success. We located the female. Now we gotta get the guy with the dart gun up in the air, and hopefully we're bringing the female back from our boy from Missouri.
After receiving a positive ID on the alpha female, the capture team preps to fly straight away.
So we just got back from the scout, and now the pros are gonna go out and capture the alpha female. And John's the man that's gonna be doing the darting, and that's no easy task.
Today's mission, targeting a single notoriously savvy alpha female, Wolf 1110 from the Hawks Nest Pack, is going to take everything they've got.
Well, the guys are off. Hopefully they're coming back with a wolf.
4107, 3 kilometers off Alpine en route Hawks Nest.
This is the team's final attempt to bring in the alpha female, and with just minutes left to pursue her, tensions are running high.
Okay, this is 11-2. Where'd she go? I lost her.
She's still on the left? Yep, she's outrunning us. That's not a good sign. She's constantly moving. She's smart. This is a wily.
She's a wily. Yeah.
She's a she-devil.
She's right in here somewhere. She just went in the trees right here.
Looks like we've got a shot coming up. Now.
So the helicopter's coming in. It's unknown at this point if the alpha female is on board. It'll be exciting to see. Helicopter's coming in. I don't see a wolf.
It's a tough break, but the team couldn't risk an injury to the alpha female, especially a wolf that's proven she's truly and indisputably wild.
So it looks like they didn't capture the alpha female, so we're going with plan B, and that's to let Zeke out, and hopefully he'll go out and find the pack and bond with the alpha female on his own.
We officially changed her name from 11 whatever to El Diablo.
El Diabla, I like that name. So she's deemed uncatchable at this point.
Absolutely.
The stakes have gone up for Zeke. Though he's shown great progress acclimating to the White Mountains pen, his road to freedom just got a little bit lonelier. For the first time in his life, he'll have to fend completely for himself. I'll be back to see him off into the unknown. But first, I've got my own set of unknowns to deal with. On day 2 of the trek, I wake up in the depths of the Grand Canyon. Today, my aim is to reach the Colorado River. That is, as long as I can beat the incoming storm.
Well, it didn't rain last night, but it's moving in right now. I can see it on the horizon. And it's not always the rain that's happening here that's the problem. Because if it's raining up there, all that water are gonna come down these drainages, fill these streams up, and I have to follow this stream all the way down to the Colorado today. So, I better hurry up, pack up, and get down there.
But not all water in the Grand Canyon comes from the sky.
I'm here at Ribbon Falls, and this water has a very unique story. Remember that snow on top of the North Rim? Well, when it melts, it actually sifts through the earth, layer by layer, traveling deeper down the canyon. Finally, it reaches a layer it can't go through, and then it shoots out of the rocks just like this.
A perennial spring, like this one, is truly an oasis.
Wow. Water truly brings life here in the Grand Canyon. As the springs erupt out of the rocks, life congregates. And some amphibian has come to this puddle, laid its eggs, and a new generation is born. What is really cool is this rain is filling this puddle up. And as this puddle fills, raindrop by raindrop, the little guys know that they must go down the water slide if they're going to survive. And you can see them fighting to the ultimate whitewater ride towards the Colorado. A little wiggle and he'll be on a ride. Go, little guy, go. There he goes.
Just like this tadpole, I'm on my way to the Colorado, and the skies have finally cleared.
In view of the Colorado River, 3,500 feet, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. There it is, my destination. And below me is some of the oldest exposed rock on Earth. Now all I gotta do is climb over that ancient rock and get to the river.
The Vishnu schist at the bottom of the Grand Canyon is estimated to be nearly 2 billion years old. Since leaving the North Rim, I've effectively walked those 2 billion years back in geological time.
Wow, mighty Colorado River. This is a long way down from where I started my trek, way up there on the North Rim. And I think for my trek out of here, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
But before I leave solid ground for the unknown currents of the river, I've got one last night to think it over here at the river's edge. And since I'm too excited for sleep, it's a perfect time to stake out my campsite for any nocturnal animal visitors.
It's getting dark, and as night comes, the last few nights, I've been hearing more and more and more of them. So I'm not quite sure what's happening out here, so I'm gonna set up my remote camera, and hopefully tomorrow morning, I can see who has been visiting my camp.
And the results don't disappoint. A pair of desert gray foxes. And an animal I've never seen before. The ringtail, busy searching for its next meal, here underneath the starry canvas of the desert sky. Despite my exhaustion, sleep evades me, because tomorrow, I know the river will challenge me beyond anything I've faced so far. There's a point on every trek where the trail ends and the unknown begins. And here I am, swapping my hiking boots for river shoes, my backpack for a dry bag, and turning my attention to the pulse and rhythm of the rushing river.
Well, I've climbed down to the bottom of the canyon, and I'm here at the Colorado River. And the river is actually flowing pretty high, and this is a force to be reckoned with. But it's the way out of here, so I'm gonna follow this river out of the canyon to Lake Mead. It should be an awesome ride. That's some big water, but here goes nothing.
I understand immediately why most river runners prefer the safety of a raft on the Colorado. Because out here, I'm just a little tadpole in a very big stream. I can't help but wonder where is the wildlife hiding out here?
It is scorching on the river. It's definitely too hot for me and too hot for animals. But I did notice this little tributary running out of this canyon. So it's a good place to look for wildlife and a good place to go on a little day hike. (1,500 feet elevation, 92 degrees Fahrenheit. In the middle of the day in the Grand Canyon, it gets really hot, so it's super important to find a cool place. And it doesn't get any cooler than this.
I'm not the only one taking advantage of this little sanctuary.
Check out this little guy. This is the canyon tree frog. And if you look at him, he's actually taking on the color of the rock he lives in. And if you look around, the rocks are gray, kind of chalky white, and that's the same color as this little guy here. And a lot of the snakes, frogs, and lizards that live in the Grand Canyon do that exact thing.
There's no better way to see this than with one of the Grand Canyon's signature reptiles. Fortunately for me, reptile expert Stefan Poulin from the Sonoran Desert Museum has one on hand ready to unveil.
So I'm here with Stefan, and Stefan has a very cool reptile in that bucket. What do you have in there?
Well, right now we have a Grand Canyon rattlesnake.
Wow, beautiful. Now, people often call them pink rattlesnakes, and you can see they definitely have some coloration that's pinkish.
They tend to be a little bit more striking because of their color.
I've had a brush with a close relative of this snake, the prairie rattler, native to Montana.
I am so lucky I didn't step on it. Look how camouflaged it is in these rocks.
To compare the two snakes, Stefan brings out an old friend, the prairie rattler.
So you can see the color difference right off the bat.
The prairie rattlesnakes is typically found more in green vegetation compared to the Grand Canyon, who's found in a rocky habitat with pink and rose hue of color.
As it turns out, Stefan has one more trick up his sleeve. Another native reptile species found in the Grand Canyon, the chuckwalla.
The chuckwallas are really kind of unique. They have some adaptation that you don't see in any other lizards here in the Southwest. So if you want to take a grab on this one, just, you know, put your thumb there, perfect.
And it's really cool is to hold these little guys, and you can see all these adaptations that they have that I actually have to go purchase at the sporting goods store. They literally have a built-in camelback right there that they can store water for great periods of time. While most animals in the Grand Canyon have learned to avoid the extreme heat, the chuckwalla loves it.
Today is a blazing hot day in the canyon, and the chuckwalla is living up to its reputation.
Well, the canyon's really heating up today. In fact, the rocks are even hot to the touch. And most animals tuck themselves away during the heat of the day. But right up here is an animal who loves the heat. I'm gonna try to climb up these hot rocks and get a closer look. But one of the chuckwalla's defense mechanisms is actually to climb down in those cracks that he's sitting next to and inflating their body. So if something comes along and tries to eat him, starts tugging on him, he literally fills up and wedges himself in there so they can't get him out. So right now, he's right here in this crack, laying very flat. He's puffed his body up. There's no way I could actually reach in there and pull him out. What a cool dude to be this close to a chuckwalla.
Now everywhere I turn seems to reveal another new species of ornate, colorful lizard. And their playful costumes reflect the ever-changing spectrum of light, shadow, and color in the surrounding desert.
Right here in front of me, I have a side blotch lizard. And it's up here on the top of this rock, kind of playing king of the mountain. And it's funny, they'll do these little push-ups,
And he's demonstrating that this is his rock. If there's any challengers, step on up.
In this environment, stepping up is a matter of course. The desert will inevitably test you. And the river, well, it can turn your whole worldview upside down. Like many animals here, I use the river like a highway to get to my next destination. And this time, my goal is tucked into the remote cliffs high above the waterline.
Oh, man. I tell you what, the Grand Canyon is tearing me apart. Almost every plant here has a thorn, and this stuff right here, this rock, is Muav limestone. And it's kind of like the combination between razor blades and a cheese grater. And I just bumped up against it. Look what it did to my leg. I've heard people call it predatorial rock, and now I know why. But just up here is one of the coolest paleo sites in all of the Grand Canyon. So I hope it's worth it. Oh, there's the entrance of the cave. And it is hot out here. So I hope it's really cool in there.
Even though the former occupants of this cave are long since extinct, they have left us some pretty remarkable clues about their life here.
So I've made it up here to Rampart Cave. And you might wonder what all of this back here is. Well, that's been left behind by a grizzly-sized ground sloth called the Shasta ground sloth. And what this is grizzly-sized Shasta ground sloth dung. Now, it doesn't live here now, but it did live in this cave anywhere between 40,000 and 10,000 years ago. And now I'm gonna go back deep in the cave and see where these ground sloths were hanging out. It's cool to think that these sloths were living back here at the same time that mammoths were roaming, saber-toothed tigers, even the short-faced bear. I can't help but to imagine this cave occupied with several grizzly-sized ground sloths. It's hot in the canyon. They crawl up in here to be cool. It's such a perfect cave that they occupied this cave for nearly 30,000 years. And there's definitely a pile of a record right here. Look at this. This is 30,000 years of sloth dung piled up. Wow, this has been a great way to get off the river, cool off, and really experience a piece of the history of the Grand Canyon.
Even though I'd like to linger in the cool comfort of the cave, the river is calling me back. Soon the canyon begins to narrow, and below me, I hear that unmistakable sound. Big rapids ahead. I'd rather be facing down a grizzly bear than whatever is making that noise.
Well, I've reached a pretty substantial rapid here on the river, and I can only see the top of it, but I can hear it roaring down below. So I'm gonna follow this trail over and scout it out.
And immediately I can see I'm in way over my head.
Holy cow. That is some big whitewater. This is the Bridge Canyon Rapid. And as I look at it, I can see it. The feature here that's really dangerous is that the wave train will truck you right into a big rock down there in the corner. This is way out of my skill level. I've never been in a kayak before this trip. I swim like a rock. In most cases, I would just climb around this. But if you look, you can see this is all cliffed out all the way around. I have no climbing gear. I do have whitewater gear, so I guess that's the only way out of here.
It's crazy.
I'm faced with a huge rapid on the Colorado, and there's literally no way around. So it's time to sink or swim.
Gotta get this line perfect. Gotta power through this, baby. We gotta dance with the river, they say.
By the time I pull off the river, it's all I can do just to catch my breath and take a moment to reflect.
Just to put in perspective how intense that was for me, I was literally hanging on for my life. My hands right now are like, they're just trembling. I was hanging on so hard. For me, that was a big personal challenge. Not really comfortable in water and didn't know what my kayak skills were going to be like, but here I am. I made it through. Now it's got a little bit of flat water and I'm out of the canyon.
Soon these currents will slacken into Lake Mead, marking the official end of the Grand Canyon. But I have some unfinished business left to take care of, and it's taken me all the way back to the beginning. After all, I wasn't about to leave Zeke, the Mexican gray wolf, hanging high and dry in his White Mountains pen. So I headed out to see him on the morning of his release into the wild.
So I'm back here at Zeke's enclosure. He's definitely acting a lot more like a wild wolf. Now, unfortunately, they couldn't catch the Hawk's Nest female. So they have a location on a Hawk's Nest kill where they'll release him next to, and hopefully he'll link up with the female. Now, today, I'm actually gonna give him his last captive meal. All right, Zeke. No more free lunches after this. See you later.
A similar process is underway back at the Condor Rehab Center, and I thought I'd get back in on the action.
So they are trying to identify the bird at this point by their shoulder tag, which bird needs a new transmitter. He's located him up here. And these guys have done this hundreds of times, so they're pros. They know how to catch these birds without injuring them.
Our bird shows positive signs of a full recovery, but the jury's still out until the blood test confirms whether the lead is gone.
So what's the report?
Well, remember that bird we treated?
Yeah.
It's all cleared of the lead in its system and ready to release.
Meanwhile, the Mexican gray wolf recovery team successfully captures Zeke. They send him on his way to the release site, high in the mountains. Zeke heads for the cold, while our condor heads into desert heat. Two of the last of their kind, finding their way back into two different worlds.
All right, here we go. 10:49, going out into the wild.
United by an instinctive desire for freedom, beyond kennels and cages.
Wow, look at those wings.
Of what it means to have an open place, no matter how harsh, no matter the elements, no matter what drives you, no matter what feeds you, no matter what you fear, to call home at last. Amid deep snows, towering mountains, and biting cold, come tales of an animal flitting on the edge of the real. Some call it a spirit, others a monster. The devil bear, the glutton, the hyena of the north, the wolverine. I'll travel deep into the frozen wilderness.
Where there's wolves, there's carcasses. Where there's carcasses, there's wolverines.
To capture a view of one of the most elusive animals on the planet, as it's never been seen before. And I'll break the ice to share their real story.
What do you think of that?
Here we go. Locked into a helicopter with a Wolverine.
It's going to be one unforgettable ride.
I mean, that was awesome, more than I ever could hope for.
When you set out to find a wild wolverine, it's tough to know where to start. But I know I need to get a better feel for the legend I'm chasing. So I figure I'll go straight to the source. Southeast Alaska, site of some of the most rugged terrain on the planet. And the home of Steve Krushel, the man who wrote the book on working with wolverines.
Casey,
It's good to meet you finally, Steve.
good to meet you. Heard a lot about you, seen a little bit of what you've done on television, and here you are. Then there was this little clip of you playing with a Wolverine, and I thought, oh my gosh, someone else has worked with Wolverines.
This is Patches, the one and only Wolverine I've ever worked with. But that was almost 15 years ago. And all these years, I've been hoping for another chance.
Everything that was taught to me, I think they learned it from you.
Wolverines have been a big part of my life for almost 30 years now. The whole point of it all these years was to introduce and to get people impassioned about an animal that really represents this. You know, they are an epitome of the true wild north. Here we go. So I'm gonna
But
go right
before I meet a Wolverine, Steve wants to teach me the basics with an animal that's a little less intimidating.
There, he's being very, very cooperative. So far, so good.
Pine Marten, huh?
Exactly. This one's name is Beckett, and I'm gonna slip him in this little hole there. There we go. Now, they're very quick and fast, but they're related to the Wolverine and tough like a Wolverine, too. There he is. See him there. They're very curious. Yeah.
Well, I've noticed when you're playing with Beckett here that you use a vocalization.
Yes, I go.
And do you do that with all the animals?
You're going to be doing the same thing. They respond to different vocalizations, usually a little higher pitch voice. Try it once. See, it already works. Perfect beginning, and the Marten is paying attention to you already.
You like Wolverines, you have a Pine Marten friend here, so you kind of have a fascination with the weasel family.
Exactly, yeah, the mustelid family, the weasel family, yeah.
The weasel family includes martens like Beckett, with lightning-quick reflexes and awesome dexterity. River otters, adept at survival in the most frigid conditions. Even tiny short-tailed weasels, who take down rabbits 4 times their size. But the king of weasels, the largest terrestrial member of the family, has all these talents rolled into one. Jaws strong enough to pulverize bone and take down 1,000-pound moose. Vocal cords that mimic a grizzly's growl. And the attitude to back it up. No wonder this dog-sized weasel projects the confidence of an animal 10 times its size.
I'm excited.
I'm excited, and I have a little trepidation. This is unprecedented territory that we're going into.
Well, I look forward to it.
Let's go.
Steve and I head out to a frozen island in the nearby Chilkat River, the perfect place to meet Jasper, one of a pair of orphaned wolverines Steve has bottle-fed from birth. But as a stranger coming into Jasper's life late in the game, I'm in a situation that is at best unpredictable and at worst dangerous. Hopefully this island is big enough for the both of us.
What do we have there?
This is Jasper the Wolverine.
Hi, buddy.
That's it.
Hi. What do you think? What do you
That's
think?
it.
Hi.
You know, it's that trust that you're worked with all the time, and I use different types of voices, you know. Use a high-pitched voice. Can you use that?
Yeah.
Hi, buddy. Hi, bud.
That's
Hi,
it.
bud. Hi. Hi, bud.
I never would have guessed I'd have to sweet-talk my way into a Wolverine's heart. But the challenge, as Steve puts it, is to gain Jasper's trust, little by little. And just like that, Jasper gives me an opening, a first step into forming a real bond.
Yeah, he seems to like you. He likes your hands. You did good. He wants to go that way. Should we go with him?
Let's walk.
Let's walk. Let's see where he goes.
Hi, buddy.
Let's just walk this way.
With a pass of the leash, our relationship is off and running.
That trust is building already. In less than a few minutes, that trust has already started. They're so intelligent.
You're a good judge of character, buddy.
Jasper still keeps his distance. For now, I'll just follow his lead.
Where you going? Where are you taking me, bud?
I'm not a proven quantity yet, and that goes for here, working with Jasper, as well as in the wild, looking for his cousins. But the lessons I'll learn here, in my sessions with Steve and Jasper, should serve me well in the backcountry. Because this isn't a ghost hunt. Jasper's already made that perfectly clear. I'm headed north, into the Yukon Territory, where moose outnumber people by 2 to 1. This is smack dab in the middle of prime Wolverine habitat. In North America, the Wolverine's range is roughly correlated to areas where snow lingers into late spring. The snowier, the colder, and the wilder it gets, the better suited it is for Wolverines. It's hard to imagine a place that fits the bill better than Lance Goodwin's remote outpost.
Must be Lance.
Yes.
Heard you're the man with the plan when it comes to finding Wolverines.
Well, we can give it a shot.
Yeah? You have any activity around here?
Well, actually, we've had a small fox come in the last few days.
Right on cue, a red fox comes to check out the new guy in town. But Lance comes from a long line of trappers in the area. It's his expertise as a mountain guide, live trapper, and conservationist that I'm counting on to show me the path to the Wolverine.
Like I say,
So it seems like looking for Wolverines in an area that's as vast as this would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. How do we begin?
a good possibility to start with is that we have a bait shed that we use for the trap line here. Then we can move into the back country where we can take a shot from there and see what we can find.
Great. That sounds good.
A stakeout of the bait shed will be a natural way to test the waters before I head out further into the backcountry.
So this is the bait shed where Lance keeps his meat for live trapping. And this is going to be a great spot to set up my remote cameras and see what critters are coming in here.
Wolverines are notoriously difficult to find and film, so I've brought an arsenal of remote cameras and night filming equipment. If the bait shed cameras perform well, they could provide me my first big lead. Now, it's a waiting game. Days pass until one morning.
There's some activity around the bait shed right now. I can see one little red fox. He's going inside the shed right now. I hope there's more than one. There's a couple of foxes over there. They seem like they're taking turns going in and out of the shed. There's a lot of interaction going on with these foxes right now. As they go in and out and feed, they're also kind of showing a hierarchy. And once in a while, one of the foxes will go over and dominate another one. Do a lot of body posturing. It's just really cool. I've never seen this kind of fox behavior before. The foxes move out so I can finally retrieve my footage. And it's out of this world. Experience tells me never to get too excited when checking remote camera footage, because 9 times out of 10, you strike out. But every so often, you catch a little piece of wildlife gold. This isn't your garden variety duel, because inside, the stakes are high. And to the victor go the spoils. Then, at the end of the action-packed night, the visitor I've been waiting for. A wolverine. A trapeze artist with jaws of steel, exerting some of the strongest bite pressure in the animal kingdom. The wolverine snaps off dinner for the road. And I know I've come to the right place. But basically, I can take this same idea, go out there, try to find food sources, and hope that the wolverines out there find them too. Today, I leave the front country for the true wilderness, to find a wolverine in the wild. And it's one incredibly scenic ride. We head to Lance's backcountry hut, my new base camp in the middle of nowhere.
Wow, this place is big. Do you have any wildlife tips?
Down at the end of the lake, there's an old beaver house that the otter have been living in for years. That'd be one of your best bets. It's a good place to start anyhow. And a wolverine, well, that's a tough one because it's pretty rare to see them at the best of times, but it's just a matter of luck and spending lots of time glassing.
I'm not so sure about luck, but I've got plenty of time. Mostly to wonder, how will I find a 40-pound animal that patrols an area the size of the city of Los Angeles? That's 500 square miles. The next morning, I take my first real tour of the surroundings.
Well, I'm gonna try to get to know this place. I think the first thing I'm gonna do is ski across the lake and check out those otters that Lance told me about.
Out here, even the small trips feel big. Wolverines swim in an ocean of wilderness. In a valley this size, there are likely less than 2 wolverines who call it home.
All kinds of otter tracks here. It's really cool. You can see where the otters go into the beaver hut, come over here, hang out on top of the beaver dam, go into the open water, fish, slide back and forth. Right here is a fresh set of wolverine tracks. And if I look on the back track here, I can see where this wolverine is marked. This is really cool to see this. Good track, headed up that way. I think I'm gonna follow it.
I'm running out of daylight, but I'm desperate to follow these tracks to their maker. Tracking a wolverine isn't easy. On my second session with Steve and Jasper, I see why. We'll let Jasper off leash to see firsthand how a wolverine moves across the landscape. But first, we need to warm him up. And for a wolverine, that actually means cooling him down.
So one thing wolverines like to do is keep cool. And it may look like keeping cool out here is really easy, but not for a wolverine.
Wolverines have what is called an obligate relationship with snow. That is, they can't live without it. They are born in snow dens. They spend most of their lives surrounded by snow. And it even helps them regulate their body temperature.
One thing they like to do is tunnel into the snow, get snow all around them so they can cool off.
Wolverines manage to stay perfectly warm even at minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The secret lies in their unusually thick, frost-resistant fur. And under all that fur, a souped-up metabolism keeps their internal furnace cranking at a steady 98 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, Casey, I think he's very curious here. He's coming right to your Wolverine hole.
buddy.
Just keep talking to him there. We're getting to the second level now of his trust and bond with you. And
Jasper.
Hi, bud. Hi, bud.
There you go.
Jasper jumps right in and out.
he's not quite happy with it.
Well, I did my best.
Maybe Jasper just needs a little more room to breathe. And although it's risky, we're going to give him some freedom to roam.
I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna unsnap this and see if he even knows if he's free.
Oh yeah, he knows.
He knows that.
This may not have been the best idea. In a single day, a wolverine can travel up to 40 miles through the deepest snow.
Should we go and follow him, see where he goes?
Let's follow him.
Right on.
It only takes one awkward step into the soft snow to realize that I'll never keep up with Jasper. I'm simply not built for this kind of travel. Jasper can cross a topo map like you or I would cross a street. But there's more to this story than meets the eye.
I built this plexiglass table and put a high-speed camera below it so you can see the action of their paws as they move over it. But first, I gotta throw some snow on here.
Okay.
All right, here he comes.
go.
He's ready.
A typical wolverine weighs between 30 and 70 pounds. And its paw is huge relative to its body size. In fact, it's as big as the paw of a wolf, 3 times the size. On each paw, curved, semi-retractile claws work like crampons to grip ice, rock, trees, and of course, prey. Their characteristic flat-footed lope maximizes the effect of their snowshoe-like paws with every step. So they can outpace and kill large animals that bog down in the snow.
Wow, well, that was good.
Good, good, good. He took out the one camera, but
That's all right, that's what wolverines do. And now that Steve's close, Jasper just ran right over to him. So you can see that wolverine wants to be with Steve rather than running off into the great wild. Really cool.
Now that I've seen a wolverine on the move, I know I've got my work cut out for me in the backcountry. Even if I see one, I'm not sure how I'll keep up. Filming them in the wild seems more daunting than ever. After a week of searching the backcountry in vain, my luck might be about to change.
Well, I haven't seen a wolverine yet, but right now, I've got a big pack of wolves out here on the ice. Where there's wolves, there's carcasses. When there's carcasses, there's wolverines.
As it turns out, there's life out here after all. This could be exactly what I need. As the wolves depart, it's time for me to investigate what, if anything, they've left behind.
I walked out here where I saw that wolf pack, and there is a ton of activity here. I can see where these wolves have gone back and forth, and these tracks go over in these willows and spruce. So potentially, they could have a kill over there. Where there's a kill, there could be a wolverine.
Tracks don't lie, as long as you know how to read them. But they rarely tell you the whole story.
Wow, this is great. Those wolves killed a moose. And it looks like they've consumed a lot of it. This is a great situation for scavengers to come to. I'm gonna set up a remote camera. Maybe if I'm lucky, a wolverine will come here.
I start with my smallest camera trap. It's the least likely to scare away a wary animal.
So if something walks by this, I'm gonna know. No, I can just go back, sit in the cabin, let this little guy do all the work.
For my third session with Jasper, I'll finally get a taste of the Wolverine's physical power. But first, we've got a few ground rules to go over.
Seems like he's being playful.
Yeah, he is. Well, don't let it fool you, though. He's still got his guard up a little bit, but it's coming down as we speak, literally.
What a good boy.
Once again, Steve's advice on how to handle this rare carnivore is a little different than you might expect.
Putting your hands in his mouth also helps. And one thing I like to do is kiss. Kiss the wolverine on the nose. Or,
So let me get this straight. So stick your fingers in a wolverine's mouth
yeah.
and then kiss a wolverine on its nose.
Move on to kissing on the nose. And I think we're getting close to that.
Now, they teach you in school not to do those things.
I'm amazed that Steve hasn't lost an eye or a nose by now. But perhaps it's his confidence that Jasper recognizes.
Now, he likes to kiss with his teeth.
The Wolverine's reputation for bite strength is not an exaggeration. These jaws can literally crush bone.
Yeah, and so he's tempering it there. You see, he didn't bite the face.
Yeah.
He's just tempering it, and that's a very big compliment to have the Wolverine show you that. So I feel really, now he's biting into my shoulder. That's
How'd that
another
feel?
good sign. Well,
That's good.
It's
That's a good sign.
yeah.
Now it's my chance to take the first step, to put my fingers into the jaws of a Wolverine.
He's biting your hands nicely,
Oh, boy.
and then licking right afterwards.
Oh, boy.
Very, very, very good
Oh,
sign.
boy.
Very
Now
cool.
just try to pull off this a little bit around his
back.
head,
Oh, boy.
and now he's free.
You're free. Just you and me. Now, don't go and run off again.
Well, he'll go exploring.
Well, I want to try to do that.
Well, Casey, I think I'm going to head out.
All right.
Hey, buddy. Hey, bud.
Get to know my smell. Getting to hear my voice.
Here's my big moment, to attempt what could be my first and last Wolverine kiss. But Jasper decides not on the first date.
No kiss yet.
Wolverine play isn't all lighthearted fun, and Jasper's starting to get more physical.
He's showing me he wants to play a little bit. So I'm just gonna give him let's not take it too hard, but baby steps. Move my hand around.
Jasper's bites continue to get stronger,
Good stuff.
so I bring in something else for him to chew on. It has me in a cold sweat. If the Wolverine lives up to its fierce reputation around fresh meat, I could get caught up in a feeding frenzy. I finally have Jasper's full attention, and all it took was a giant moose ribcage. There's no mistaking the object of that intense stare.
Wolverines are legendary when it comes to carcass defense. And I've heard tales of wolverines chasing off grizzlies, fighting whole packs of wolves. Now, he's putting those jaws to work. And look at that power.
It's just so cool when he starts to chew on that meat and the bones. You can really see the muscles all the way from the tip of his nose, through his head, down into his neck, really working. He's perfectly designed for this right here. And right now, he's using a tooth way back here. Instead of being situated like this, the tooth is actually rotated 90 degrees like this. And it's designed for crunching bone and ripping and tearing meat.
When no better food source can be found, the wolverine is one of the few animals that can crush and eat pure bone to access the oils and marrow inside.
So I'm gonna do the unheard of. I'm gonna actually share the carcass with a wolverine.
This carcass weighs well over 100 pounds, but that's no problem for Jasper's brute force.
He's actually trying to move it away from me. You know, every part of my instincts tells me I have to be careful. He is a wolverine. This is a food source. You don't want to be on the bad end of a wolverine's aggression. Amazing strength. I mean, I honestly have to say that I thought there was no way to be this close to a wolverine on a carcass.
Once Jasper separates me from the carcass, he reveals the strategy for corralling me well out of the reach of his prize.
You know, and if you watch them doing this with other wolverines on a carcass, this is their tactic. Keep them spinning around like that. Keep them off guard. This is all play.
I'm starting to think the devilish reputation of the wolverine is a bit off base. I'll need to observe them in the wild, where it's a matter of life or death, before I can truly judge. There's a simple reason most people don't understand wolverines. They've never seen one, especially not in the wild. I can only hope this isn't my fate. After leaving the remote camera in the backcountry, I'm on pins and needles as I return to the carcass.
Well, it looks like we had a little activity here last night, so I'm gonna pop this card out and check it out. Well, a fox came in. More fox. Oh, what's that? It's a wolverine. So I know there's a wolverine in the area, and it's feeding on this carcass.
The wolverine comes in, and he goes straight for the camera. But after a second or two, he's back to feeding on the carcass. Now it's time to raise the stakes.
I think I should set up my other camera trap, the actual full motion camera trap. Gotta give it a shot.
If all this goes as planned, I'll be able to record full high-definition footage and live audio of a wild wolverine on a carcass. It's a groundbreaking attempt, one that may have never been tried before, and it will hopefully give me a view like I'm standing right there.
When everything works out, it's gonna be an amazing point of view. Good luck, little guy.
My camera traps are in place, but this morning, I'm gonna climb up on the ridge here, watch the carcass, and hopefully, I'll see a wolverine. I almost miss a perfectly camouflaged flock of ptarmigan. It's a reminder that everything here is adapted to this landscape, except me. When I finally reach the ridgetop, I pause for a breath. Only, I'm not alone.
And there's a wolverine out there on the lake running across. This is amazing, a wild wolverine. The wolverine is way out there. He's just a little speck on that vast white of the frozen lake.
I can't believe my eyes. What started as a tiny speck is coming in closer and closer and closer.
Got the camera set, everything's in place. He's headed right for it. He's going right up the ridge, right to it. Now as he's approaching the carcass, he's slowing down quite a bit, moving in cautiously, making sure there's nothing around. But he's moving right into the carcass. You can see how smart he is. He knows there could be other wolverines, there could be wolves. So he's just moving in real hesitant, making sure there's nothing else around. There he's found. He's on the carcass right now.
All the hard work, it's all worth it for this moment. When suddenly, something else comes into view. A second wolverine.
There's a wolverine on the carcass in front of the camera trap, and another one moving right up to it. How cool is this? Not one wolverine, but two wolverines. It's good. There's a camera right there catching all of this.
I'll never see this again, so my eyes are glued to their interaction.
Two wolverines on a moose carcass. It's unbelievable. I'd call that a major success.
I'd like to learn more about Wolverine's social behavior. So it's time to find out what would happen when we add Bamf, Jasper's twin brother, to the mix.
It's your brother!
Right away, I can see that even though I try my best to play Wolverine style, these two instantly take it to the next level. Just like our groundbreaking carcass footage, we take another unprecedented step, filming this interaction with a high-speed camera to reveal the unique biomechanics of Wolverine play in slow motion.
This is like having ringside seats to a mixed martial arts fight. I mean, they are striking, they're wrestling, a lot of grappling. They're so fast, so agile and flexible, and you can see all this strategy in this play. Like that there, a little leap and come down on top. It's pretty great, keeping their head low, rolling over. Right now, Bamf has got Jasper in a hold, and then it switches, and now Jasper's on top. Man, they play dirty sometimes. Grab onto each other's cheeks and lips, and pull really hard. I'm glad they don't play like that with me.
For the play to remain harmonious, Jasper and Banff trade off winning and losing at almost a perfect 50-50 ratio. But if that ratio shifts, the play will turn aggressive.
Well, this looks like so much fun. I think I'm gonna have to get involved. Oh, come here, slide them in.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is fun. This is fun.
Here I am, faced with not one, but two sets of snapping jaws.
This is fun. This is fun. Man, he's so fast and flexible, quick. Hey, bud, let me play. Come on, let me play with you.
They're getting rowdier now. You know, I know when I don't want to get involved. And maybe I'll just sit back and watch.
This behavior is rarely seen even in captivity. In the wild, it's practically unheard of.
And they're just playing, having a good time. Running. And it's just funny. It reminds me of Banff and Jasper, how they play with each other. And out here in the wild, wolverines are doing exactly the same thing. I mean, it's obvious when you watch them, they're having fun. It reminds me of two puppies playing with each other. I mean, after getting to know the wolverine, Banff and Jasper, and watching these wolverines in the wild, it really proves that they're not the monster everybody thinks they are. I mean, they're fierce when they have to be, but most of the time, they're just having fun. I mean, that was awesome, more than I ever could hope for.
There's still one final hazard that I haven't faced yet out here in the backcountry: an avalanche. Avalanches are one of nature's most destructive forces, but for a wolverine, they can be a blessing. Unlike bears, wolverines don't hibernate when winter arrives. So they need to find food any way they can. And the flash-frozen victims of an avalanche, like sheep, mountain goats, and the occasional moose, are a major prize. Today, I'm taking Jasper into the high alpine to let him experience the ultimate realm of a wild wolverine. But first, I'm going to test his avalanche skills.
You want me to crawl in this hole?
For this exercise, I'll be playing the part of the buried treasure.
And what we're gonna do here is sort of your point of view, like you're a carcass, an animal that was hit by an avalanche this past winter, and you're buried, and animals like wolverines will come along and dig you out.
Okay, so I just need to get down in here.
Yeah.
You're gonna bury me.
Yep.
And my rescuer is gonna be a wolverine.
A wolverine. I'm gonna bring Jasper over and see if he'll find you.
Oh, that'd be
This
cool.
is what wolverines do. And so, are you okay yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
These suckers are heavy.
Yeah.
If they cave in on me, it would be, it would hurt.
Yeah.
Just like in a natural avalanche, when the snow compresses under its own weight, it sets up like concrete. Jasper will have to showcase some serious digging to get me out of here.
If you have any sense of claustrophobia, you would not want to be in here.
So you are the carcass, and goodbye. But you're gonna be saved, however, by a wolverine.
I hope so.
out, bud. Help me out. There you go. Come on, good boy. Come on, good boy.
My rescuer's on his way.
Hey, bud. Hi, bud. Hi, bud. Pull me out. Pull me out. There you go. Good boy. You saved me. You saved me. Pull me out. There you go. There you go.
How cool is that? Jasper recognized me in the avalanche, and he wanted to help me. He dug me out, grabbed onto my hand, and pulled me out. He literally rescued me from underneath the snow. I think that is so awesome. How many people have been rescued by a wolverine from an avalanche? So cool.
Now that Jasper's proven his skills, we're taking a leap of faith, traveling together into real avalanche terrain.
So here's the bird that's gonna take me, Steve, and Jasper the Wolverine to Wolverine Wonderland.
Shut me on in. Here we go. Locked into a helicopter with a Wolverine. Good stuff. Off to Wolverine Wonderland. Here we go.
Jasper and I are getting a glimpse of what most of North America looked like during the last ice age. A kingdom of rugged cirques, spines, ice falls, snowfields, and glaciers. The place where the Wolverine was born.
How's he doing back there, Steve? He's doing good.
Oh, I'm short. You need a hand there again, Steve?
Just right down here. Yeah, right here.
It's just so cool to be out here with Jasper and seeing how these animals are designed for terrain like this. Out here, a Wolverine will look at these mountains and not even think twice about it. They can go right up over the top of them like they're not even there.
As proof, a GPS-collared Wolverine known as M3 scrambled nearly 5,000 direct vertical feet over sheer rock and ice to summit a peak over 10,000 feet tall. And M3 took less than 90 minutes to make his ascent. What would take hours, if not days, for the fittest human. But there's been many impossibles along this journey, and all of them have come true.
When this whole thing started, I never thought it'd be possible for me to come out here with a Wolverine and play, hang out. And this is wild Wolverine country, and right here, I've got a Wolverine friend.
Oh, bud. Oh, yes. Oh, bud. Oh, yes.
It's all for you. It's all for you. I'll follow you. This is your country out here.
A weasel called the Wolverine, descended from the last ice age, still roams the upper latitudes of the North American continent, for now. The Empire of Snow may come to an end, but the Wolverine reminds us to pause, if even for an instant, to honor courage, resourcefulness, good humor, and that unforgettable stare. Raising a grizzly bear has led me down a pretty wild path, from your typical father-son game of catch to seeing the real thing in the wild.
Look at the size of that bear. Oh, that bear is massive.
But now, I'm taking on another little project. I'll have to relearn everything I thought I knew.
Could use your claws up here.
But there's nothing small about my latest mission, to find bears here.
Everything's big in Maine. The moose, the bullfrogs, the black bears, and even the leeches.
I'll learn the secrets of these wild black bears, from the edge of the world to the middle of the night in the big woods.
There's something moving around over there. I'm pretty sure it's a bear.
I've worked with many ambassador animals like Attili the mountain lion, here on the Triple D Ranch in northern Montana. So when they told me they were adopting a furry new friend, I couldn't wait to meet the new arrival.
Today is my lucky day. There's a new addition here at Triple D. A little 10-week-old black bear cub. Look at this little guy. He's just learning to walk. He's so small. Out in the wild, he wouldn't even be coming out of the den yet.
Since I'm going to be godfather to this orphan black bear cub for the next year, he's been given the name Casey Jr.
Now this little guy is making his television debut today. And he's gonna be an animal ambassador, and he's gonna teach the world about black bears.
Before Casey Jr. goes on to teach the world, I'm hoping he'll teach me a thing or two first. It was almost 10 years ago now that another little bundle of joy bounded into my life. His name is Brutus, and he's taught me more about grizzly bears than I ever could have imagined. To this day, we have a one-of-a-kind relationship, even though Brutus now weighs more than 900 pounds. With Casey Jr., I have to start at square one, and this means plenty of good old-fashioned TLC.
And just like Brutus, in order to be an animal ambassador, it's really important for this little guy to bond to humans. And bottle feeding is a great way to form that bond. This is an important part of this little guy's day. He will get a bottle at least 3 times a day. And you can see it's quite a bottle, so these little bears are eating a lot every day, and they have to because he's gonna grow a lot. In 1 year, he will weigh well over 100 pounds. And at this age, they're really just trying to develop enough that they can leave the den, take their first steps out into the wild. So now this little guy's been all fed. It's time to see if he's learning how to walk. Ready to try walking, buddy?
Here we go. I'm gonna go over here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Good job. Oh, good job. That was good. Good. Good job.
It's gonna be so cool to watch you grow up, buddy. You're gonna be bigger than me one day. You believe that? So he's learning a lot today. And one thing he's definitely learning about is that he has incredible jaw pressure. His little canines are pretty dull, but he's sure digging them in. If you look at my finger there, you can see a pretty good red indention. It's amazing how strong these little guys are.
Ready to go, bud? Let's go. Nap time. Nap time.
Ready for nap time?
Okay. There you go, buddy. Back into your den. Oh, back into your den.
Casey Jr. and I have some important milestones to look forward to. But that's not all. Working with Brutus, I've learned how to find his wild cousins in Yellowstone. Now, Casey Jr. turns my attention to the search for wild black bears. I want to find a wild black bear in its ideal habitat. Dense forest is their bread and butter, so I leave the wide open spaces of Big Sky Country for the big woods of northern Maine. They don't call these woods big for nothing. But I know just the guy to help me get the lay of the land.
Gary? Casey Anderson.
Casey, how we doing?
Good, how you doing?
Great.
So I need to see Maine, and I heard this is a good way to do it, and you're the guy that can show me.
You bet.
Gary's been flying the friendly skies in the Baxter State Park area of Maine for over 15 years. And he's landed his float plane in just about every puddle on the map.
Y'all ready? I'm ready. Oh, this is pretty clear today. I think we're going to be off for a pretty nice flight this morning. Perfect. When you get up here, the bird's eye view, you can see that Maine is just a sea of thick forest. There is a lot of wild land out here. One thing I noticed right away is we took off, we've been flying for a few minutes, and I have not seen a human, a car, or a building. I'm not going to see any up in here. Well, being up here is a reality check. We're not in open Yellowstone country anymore. I'm excited to get out there, but navigating through this forest looks like it's going to be tough. I know this is prime black bear habitat, and there are a lot of black bears in Maine, but I have no idea how biologists even try to count them. We could have flown over 100 black bears already, and there's no way you could have seen them.
There are nearly 30,000 black bears in Maine, making it one of the highest concentrations of black bears anywhere in the United States. Black bears have an immense range, from Canada to Mexico. Their numbers are growing. Where there's forest, there's often black bears.
Well, Gary's given me a pretty good lay of the land here, and I can see that Maine is as wild as anywhere in the world. Now it's time to get my boots muddy and get out there and see what's crawling around.
It looks like something just walked down here. There's the dew's been knocked off a lot of the plants.
Right away, I feel like the forest is swallowing me. But apparently, I'm not the only one.
Okay, tracks mean animals. Black bear tracks mean there's a black bear around here somewhere. That's a good sign. So here in Maine, it's a completely different story. The forest's thick. It's tough to get around. I mean, breaking sticks. You can only see maybe 20 yards ahead of you. It's just really tough to try to sneak up on anything through here.
I end up on an old logging road, like the ones I saw from the air. They crisscross the woods for miles.
Oh, check this out, some bear scat. You look real close, it's pretty obvious what they're eating. You can see blueberries, and all these little seeds are the seeds from raspberries. And along these logging roads, the berries thrive. So hopefully, I'll run into a bear. Well, I've lost those bear tracks in the woods. It's getting dark. This tracking black bear stuff is not easy. So I've got to come up with another plan.
I've had just about all I can take of the thick woods. with nothing to show for it. So I switched gears. My search for black bears, I'm gonna take a little different approach today. Been walking around these woods, tripping, making all kinds of noise. So today, I'm gonna get in the canoe, travel to this lake, and hopefully see some wildlife. There's some clear advantages to this strategy. Out here on the canoe, I'm quiet, and I can cover a lot of ground. I probably won't see an animal until I'm within spitting distance, and a black bear won't stick around to chit-chat. Well, out here in Maine, there's really no need for binoculars. There's a lot of wildlife here. It's just not visible like it is in Yellowstone, but I'm hopeful today on the canoe I'll run into something. So I just spotted a loon out here in the lake, and it looked like it was feeding. Something really cool. This lake will actually only have one pair of loons that call it home. He dove down, he's gonna come up, so I'm gonna go out there and see if I can get a closer look. I draw near, and up pops his beautiful mate. I leave these two lovebirds in peace and head off to see what else is stirring in their big backyard. Blue heron. Tell me where the bears are. Right over here. I see something in the tall grass along the edge of the lake. Looks like a moose. Usually I wouldn't approach a moose, but this is a pretty great situation. I'm out here in my canoe. Really can't come out here. But they are these giant animals, much bigger than the black bears that are here. Moose are the second largest animal in all of North America, and they can easily weigh over 1,000 pounds. It's really peaceful out here. Still haven't seen any bears. Starting to wonder if there's any bears out here. There's nearly one bear per every square mile in Maine, so the odds are that I'm within a stone's throw of one right now. The last time I saw one of these, there was a lot more snow and a lot more ice. This is a beaver hut. And beavers thrive here in Maine. There's plenty of trees and plenty of water. And what's really cool, from what I remember, is when the water goes down, it's also a great place for black bears to crawl in and hibernate during the winter. If my memory serves me well, it's a pretty snug fit down there. All the better to keep out the elements, as I learned firsthand when I was here last March. Winter in Maine is cold and wet. When you add those two together, it can create some pretty dangerous situations. And this is probably one of the most dangerous situations that can happen in winter in Maine. An ice storm. I mean, look at this. Raindrops fall from the sky, they're super cooled, and as soon as they touch anything, instant ice. I've never seen this before in Montana, and it's really cool. If you sit here, it's almost like listening to wind chimes. Little black bear cubs, they're just being born. I timed my arrival perfectly to see these newborn cubs. I head out with the state of Maine's black bear monitoring team, led by biologist Randy Cross and technician Lisa Bates. It'll give me a better chance of finally seeing a black bear in the wild. But there's a wrench in our plans. Last night's ice storm is causing a lot of mobility issues. Trucks are gonna stop here, can't go any farther. All the trees are laying over heavy, right in the middle of the road. We're gonna pull the sleds off, try to navigate our way down through all the frozen trees, and then it's gonna be time for snowshoes. But look at this snow. This crust on top is like cement, which is great when you stay on top. But if you fall through, this stuff is like a knife cutting into your shins. So today it's gonna be some tough going.
but hopefully we find some black bears.
Finally, we make it through the gauntlet.
Back home in grizzly country, like one of the #1 rules is don't approach a female with cubs.
Yeah.
And today, we're doing the exact opposite.
Exactly, yeah.
So why does it work?
It works because black bears would prefer not to make contact, and grizzlies are pretty quick to go ahead and neutralize any threat. These bears live by running away.
Yeah, oh, cool. I trust you. I trust you enough that I'm gonna walk towards a female with cubs.
Working with wildlife is always unpredictable. And right now, the team's GPS unit, their chief method for locating bears, is malfunctioning.
Any luck?
That's what we were afraid of. So, well, we got flags down there. If we can find where we were, we'll be all set. Listen for cubs.
We're going to try this the old-fashioned way, by using only our eyes and ears.
We're starting to see one of the bears strips a mark on the cedar to use as bedding. Can hear the cubs. This is really, really cool. The bears have denned in an old beaver lodge. Now we just gotta figure our way into it.
The team hangs back while Lisa scouts for an opening among the branches, through which she can tranquilize the sow.
Good job. Well, as I've been sitting here listening, I'm pretty confident that I hear 3 distinct cub voices. And the one right down on the side of the nest has a deeper voice, which usually means it's bigger. Randy said it's probably a male, and I agree. So, definitely 3, hopefully 4, and we'll find out pretty soon.
We've just tranquilized an adult sow black bear hibernating in this den, or so we think. Now, the real fun begins.
Can you see anything?
I can see a black bear,
Yeah, that's, yeah.
like right.
All right, we're in the same den.
That's good.
Lisa hands me the first cub. I'm struck by how small and helpless he is, just like Casey Jr. These cubs have an incredible journey ahead of them, but they'll first need to survive several bitterly cold months in this uninsulated den. Nursing and keeping warm are the 2 main priorities, and my jacket is no substitute for being close to Mom. The ambient air temperature in the den can drop to minus 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and Mom's heart rate slows to as little as 8 beats per minute. But somehow she maintains a cozy body temperature of 88 degrees all winter long. All the cubs have to do is stay close.
How cool is
2
this?
males and a female.
You know, this is about the age that first time I ever saw Brutus. He's about this size, actually.
Yeah.
And made the same loud noise. Too cute. Next up's Mom. Here she comes. She's pretty.
The team goes into action. The cubs are losing precious body heat by the second, and Mom's tranquilizer will wear off soon. They have only 30 minutes to check teeth and paws, ear tag and measure cubs, and weigh the whole group, including Mom.
All right?
I think so.
Okay, up. Now we have to go.
She's off the ground, so they're doing the final measurements here, weighing her. I'm keeping these little guys warm and cuddled in. Then we're gonna tuck them all back into the ground nest, cover them up with some boughs, and let them be.
Now the question is, who puts them back in the den, and how? Apparently, it's me. Luckily, Lisa gives me her protective hat, and in I go.
Never been in a black bear den before.
We're gonna push you, you're gonna pull.
I thought my room was small growing up. First comes Mama, followed by the little ones. Getting in was the easy part.
Looks like he's staying in there.
Getting out, not so much.
Oh boy, that's a tight fit.
Hopefully, Mom doesn't wake up now.
It's not as big as it looks in there.
The bears are snugged safely back in the den. The temperature is plummeting, so it's time to head out. Home to greener pastures, where I have a cub of my own who's finally ready to leave the den and see what's out there in the big wide world for the very first time.
So it's been over a month, and look how big Casey Bear has grown. Now I remember his very first steps, and now he's running around and exploring the new world. Everything is new. There's so much to explore and smell and feel. And something as simple as water is so interesting to them. And just like most black bears, I'm sure one day he'll learn to love water. It's really neat how bears are born in the middle of winter in the den, but they develop for 4 months inside that den before they actually get to come out into the world. So out there in the wild, mother bears are taking their little cubs out and showing them open water like this for the first time. So this is a very, very important time.
Natural curiosity at this age knows no bounds.
Yes, bear wrestling, fun, huh?
Just as I expected, the instinct to climb is there from the start. But Casey Jr. might need a little practice.
So little Casey's gone from walking, he's tried a little bit of swimming, and now one thing that's essential for a black bear is climbing. And this log laying here and him balancing on it is really just baby steps, but baby steps in the right direction. Just like when I watched Rosie teaching her little cubs to climb on the logs.
Rosie was one of Yellowstone's most seen and most loved black bears. One summer, I watched as she raised 2 yearling cubs. She was a model omnivore, eating everything from field grasses to roots, nuts, and berries. But she also revealed why black bears are often called opportunivores. When opportunity knocks, or in this case, crawls, black bears know how to answer it, feasting on the ants, beetles, and grubs inside these rotting logs. Casey Jr. seems to have this technique down, all on his own.
What do you smell down there? I don't smell anything. You have a better nose than me.
A black bear's nose is 7 times sharper than a bloodhound's, and it's obvious that Casey Jr.'s found the treasure trove.
He knows there's bugs in there. You just gotta figure out how to get them out. And this is a time when Mama Bear out in the wild would come over and show him. There you go, you smell it? There's been plenty of times I've been out watching Mama Bears trying to teach their cubs how to do things. And the cubs have other ideas and all they want to do is play and explore. I think that's what he wants to do. Want to go explore some more?
promise I'll come back and we can do some more exploring, all right, bud?
Oh. I'm combing Maine's waterways to see a black bear, and I've found plenty of other wildlife. But it's time to head back to dry land.
Well, hello there, big bullfrog. Don't have you in Montana. There's only one way to get a closer look.
You can't do this without getting your feet wet. Years of practice have taught me that frog catching is a kind of art form.
Look at that, a little bullfrog, one of the most ferocious predators in Maine. Now, a full-size adult bullfrog will actually eat a frog of this size. Very cool, beautiful little frog. Ready to go, buddy? I just picked up a little friend here while I was looking for those bullfrogs. Everything's big in Maine. The moose, the bullfrogs, the black bears, and even the leeches. Look at that guy. No free rides, little guy.
Just as I wonder what else Maine can throw at me, the weather turns again. So I'm grateful for the lean-to that'll be my home sweet home for the night. There's nothing like a warm, dry place to hang your hat at the end of the day. Breathe a sigh of relief and take it all in. Living in the moment is what black bear cubs do best. Summer in the Rockies is in full bloom, and so is Casey Jr.
So it's been a couple months since the last time I hung out with little Casey, and you can see he's grown a lot. Come here, buddy. Out in the wild, a little cub at this age, they're learning so much, but Mama keeps them pretty busy. So they only have a little bit of time to play. He's definitely turning into a little black bear. Starting to grow into his ears a little bit. His hair coat color's more typical of a black bear. He's just getting big. And it's just amazing how much he'll actually grow over the next few months. And all that growth comes from eating a lot of food.
Casey Jr. has it good. He's growing at nearly double the rate of a wild black bear. In the wild, only half of black bear cubs will survive their first 6 months. But if they do, they can reach 300 pounds by their 3rd summer.
Oh, boy. It won't be too much longer and you won't be able to do this. You'll squish me.
We can't just roll around in the meadow all day, even though I kind of love it.
Life as a black bear isn't all about stopping to smell the flowers. We've got work to do. I think it's time Casey Jr. took his first wild bear test. Because a good ambassador animal doesn't just look the part. Over the years, I've taught Brutus to catch fish like the salmon-eating bears of Alaska. He's even learned to wrestle like a wild bear with his buddy Jake. But I've never tried this with him.
We got some adventures in store today, bud. Some big adventures.
First, Casey Jr. needs to fuel up.
It's all yours. Come up here. There you go. What a good boy. Your bottle sure got bigger. I got a big surprise for you today. Something that every bear loves. Now that you're a big boy, I'm gonna teach you about the birds and the bees. Now you've got this fur coat for protection, but I don't, so for today's adventure, I've got to suit up here. And then I'll lead the way, and you can follow me, okay?
Today, Casey Jr. will build on his newly formed climbing skills. Because it's not only a way of avoiding trouble, it's a way of finding it. And this looks like the sticky cut.
This is way more than just a balance beam. I got an awesome adventure for you up here. Come on, let's go check it out.
Even though black bears are equipped with a sting-proof fur coat, they have their weak spots, like their nose and paws. And after a few little stings, Casey Jr. looks to me for guidance. But the proof is in the pudding. I'll need to get some of the comb down here to show him the value of all this hard work.
All right, I'll make you a deal. You want to hang out down here, I'll go raid the hive and come back, okay? All right, I'll be right back. Could use your claws up here. Oh, yeah. Look. See, out in the wild, bears eat more than just the honey. They eat the bees, their babies, the honeycomb there. That's the good stuff right there. That makes it worth every sting.
It's a myth that bears are just after the honey. The real caloric punch is in the brood, the larvae and the young bees still developing in the honeycomb.
You got a little bit to learn about being a big bear, but I think you did all right. Yes, I did. Well, it rained a little last night, but the lean-to kept me dry. And today, I'm off to search for black bears once again.
I figure if I'm finally going to see a bear in this ecosystem, I need to change my perspective. So I head into the high country. But not just any high country.
I'm here on the Appalachian Trail, and my mission today is the top of Mount Katahdin, and I just broke out a tree line. Well, I've climbed out of the deep, dark forest, up on top of a mountain, a little more of my style. And I'll tell you what, it's as windy and as cold as any mountaintop in the Yellowstone country.
For me, that's encouraging, because in the past, I've found bears in exactly these kinds of conditions.
I'm high above the tree line just outside of Yellowstone National Park. Wow, this is so awesome. That mountain is crawling with grizzly bears.
These bears were eating cutworm moths, seasonal migrants from the Great Plains. I need to find something comparable, a food source that will draw black bears into the high country this time of year in Maine.
I'm starting to see some blueberries here, so hopefully find some black bears.
The higher I go, the less signs of life I see. And it's no surprise, because these mountains are known for some of the most extreme weather in the world.
So today I came into the high country to look for bears and to get a better view. I've got a great view, but I don't see any bears. And it looks like the higher I climb, I'm not gonna have any view because I'm headed into the clouds. When I was a kid, walking around the forest with my dad, and we didn't see any animals, we used to get this thing we'd call peak fever. And what we'd do is find the tallest mountain that we could see and climb to the top of it. Well, it's no different now. I'm here in Maine, not seeing any animals. I picked the highest mountain in Maine, and I'm going to the top of it.
The weather continues to worsen. The top of the mountain seems farther and farther away. Once I get on Katahdin's infamous Knife Edge Ridge, I'm literally at the point of no return. This mountain has killed before, and I don't want to be next.
Windy, slippery, and a long ways down. I'm up here on the Knife Edge Ridge, and I am surprised how rugged and gnarly this East Coast mountain really is. It's a long, long way down.
Fog settles in for good, just as I complete my traverse of the knife edge. The summit is right around the corner. Cloaked by the mist, I realize why I haven't found a bear.
I grew up walking around the woods back west. And you learn a lot just by experience, by being out there. And to come from the west out here to the east, you know, a little of that knowledge will transfer, but not at all. There's a bit of a learning curve.
In other words, I've got to adapt and learn just the way the bears have, to blend in with the local surroundings. It's all part of the game.
With that comes a lot of that childlike excitement. And being here in the deep woods of Maine, it's exciting, yet a lot of mystery.
I've been charging ahead, ignoring the fact that these bears are masters of stealth. So I'm gonna have to beat them at their own sport, on their own unique turf. First, I need to look closely at the terrain to find the perfect place to set up one of my secret weapons, remote cameras.
Look right here, choke cherries. This time of year, black bears in Maine love to eat these. And they're pretty good. This is a great sign right here. You can see where these bears have come into this berry patch. One stopped by the stump, tore it apart, likely to eat ants. And if you look around, there's berries everywhere. So it's a great spot for black bears to come and eat. And you can see by this trail, they use it a lot, going back into the forest and coming out here and eating. So if they come here at night, this camera will actually catch them too.
Next, I steal a trick right out of the black bear playbook. With the right materials and the right location, I'm going to simply disappear.
I'm gonna build a ground blind right here, sit tight, and wait for black bears. When you're building a place to hide, it's always best to use the materials that already exist in the forest. What it does, it basically builds this nice barrier that'll conceal my outline and any movement that I have while I'm sitting here. So now, all I gotta do is get comfortable, is just sit here and wait.
The seconds turn to minutes. The minutes to hours.
Well, nothing yet. Been sitting here a while. Nothing but squirrels.
Darkness increases, and so does animal activity.
Oh, there's a pine bark right over there by the rock. It's the first thing I've seen tonight. Pretty cool.
Dusk falls into pitch darkness. I'm ready to pack up and leave.
Hear that? Something's moving around out there. There's something moving right over there.
It's so dark that we switch the camera over to infrared mode. But even that penetrates just a few feet into the inky darkness. But I'm definitely not the only one out here.
There's something moving around over there. I'm pretty sure it's a bear, but I can't see anything. So I think it's a good time to slip out of here. This is crazy. I don't know how the black bears in Maine get around these thick forests. They can see a lot better than me, but you can see me because I'm on an infrared camera. And at night, it's not a good time for me to be in the forest, so I think I'm gonna take my headlamp and get out of here.
I can only wonder what the remote cameras will film. And it's been one wild journey up to this point. I've hiked through dense forest, searched the waterways, and the mountain ranges. And now, I'm hoping that all my patience will finally pay off. There are 3 recordings. The tiny reflective eyes of a marten on the first, followed by the distinctive ringtail of a raccoon on the second. But there's one more clip. And there, steaming up the camera lens with its warm breath, is the unmistakable image of a wild black bear. As it hits the berry jackpot, I can't help but think I've won my own lottery. To me, these few seconds of footage are priceless. And to think, I was only a few feet away. Luckily, I know a bear who doesn't mind my company.
Look at how big you've gotten. You're literally 20 times bigger than when I first met you. Big challenge today. No bottle feeding, no bringing the food to you. It's time to be a big bear. Ready? Come on, I'll show you. Choke cherries. Bears are supposed to love these choke cherries.
Casey Jr. doesn't take long to express his opinion.
This is the most important meal of the year. You gotta fatten up on these berries because you're gonna be hibernating for half the year. So you gotta get really, really fat.
Over the course of the winter, a black bear can lose 25% of its total body weight. They need to store significant fat reserves before hibernation. It's a biological process called hyperphagia. Casey Jr. seems like he's got the idea, so I prepare him a suitable finale.
Over the last year, little Casey has won over my heart. And the key to a bear's heart is food. So today, I got him a big meal. Little Casey, I got a treat for you. Come here, buddy. Look what I got for you. Check this out.
Casey Jr. bounds over. But suddenly, the crew erupts in a panic.
Yeah, stay away from that spot. It's a good-sized snake, too. Hey, will you leash him up? There might be a snake right here.
Oh, what?
So, when you're on set, sometimes there's unseen hazards. We've all heard of the snake in the grass. Look at this guy. Beautiful. And not just any snake, but the only venomous snake here in Yellowstone country. Let's see if I can get him up out of here so you can get a good look at him. But right here is one animal that you don't want to step on. An animal that's essential to this ecosystem. Why most people don't like them, I love them. And this guy right here, I'm gonna move off set and put in the hills behind me.
The snake's safely in the bag, and Casey Jr.'s able to get back to the finer things in life.
We have had one amazing year, haven't we?
It started with a simple walk that turned into a climb. Then we moved on to water. But most of all, we learned how to eat in every way imaginable. And what a difference a summer makes. From a tiny cub to a strong subadult, ready to take on the world. Casey Jr. is well on his way to becoming an ambassador bear and teaching the world, from Yellowstone to Maine, all about black bears. Given how much the camera loves him, don't be surprised if you see this face again.